All right, everyone. Good morning. Good to see you guys. I think I have a little doubling going on with my vocal. One second. Testing 1, 2. 1, 2. Oh well, we're just not going to worry about it. All right, welcome to today's pop-up. I see that my camera's not working. Let's just roll with it. Okay, here's what we've been doing. So we have this Fats Domino lesson. We've been doing 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. And I want you guys to keep practicing that. We did it yesterday, and for our Blues Academy, we're working on Blueberry Hill. And this is just one of those bass lines, like all of them, that you need to separate right hand and left hand. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and the key to this is making sure you're locking up the hands. You do left hand and right hand separately, then you put them together. And the way you're going to do this is by thinking in triplets. 1 and then 2 and then. So even this bass line, I'm doing it in C. We've been practicing this in B flat, but notice I do 1 and then, so a triplet right there. 1 and then 2 and then. So my C and my E are a part of the triplet, and the first beat and the last beat of the triplet. 1 and then 2 and then. And then watch what happens on beat 3. 3 and then. So beat 3 is another triplet, but you have the G that's going to hit twice. And what I always tell everyone is when you're trying to get this particular bass line to lock up, you have to remember that you have your index finger hitting twice. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3. So now let's talk about this PDF that we've been working on. We were doing yesterday. Let me just pull this up so I make sure I'm teaching you guys the right thing. So yesterday we were hinting around with this idea. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and, which is almost like an Oscar Peterson type lick that you would use. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and. This is from our Blues Shapes course, and we've been going through this in our academy. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and. But notice that this is written right here, all in triplets. You have the triplet rhythm. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and the key to this in the right hand is you are first of all outlining the blues scale notes. You have the F sharp, which is the tritone of C, the fifth, and the root at the bottom. 1 and then, and the key to this specific right hand lick is that I'm holding the top note. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and I would just wear that out for days. Now the good news is when you go to F, it's the same exact thing. F is the 4 chord of the C blues, and now you're on an F, and it's the same exact shape and the same exact movement for F and the same thing for G. Now I'm just thinking of the F blues scale, and I get my minor third to major third, and the same thing on G. But isn't that nice that this all fits in the hand in the octave? So I do that in C. But that key is you have to make sure you hold the top note. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and. Okay, now the way that this PDF is written out, our Blues Shapes course, is it's an eighth note bass line in the left hand. You have 1 and then 2 and, so 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and. If I was going to play it a little faster, it would sound like this. Practice it really slow and figure out how the beats line up. One thing that you need to know when you see an eighth note bass line written out like it's right here, we do, even though it's eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3. We think in terms of triplets. 1 and then 2 and then 3. And you can do 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. There are different ways to count it. I've always done 1 and then. It just seems easy for me. 1 and then 2 and then. So even in this eighth note bass line, whenever you see eighth notes written out for a bluesy kind of feel, it's usually the triplet feel. So even though it's written like this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, it sounds like this. 1 and then 2 and then. So if you're thinking in terms of triplets, you're thinking 1 and then, so I hold this longer, 1 and then I get the third beat of the triplet, 1 and then 2 and then. So we were talking about yesterday is that it's not anything fancy to sound good when you're playing the blues in terms of the rhythm. I'm not laying back. I'm not trying to do anything fancy. I'm just observing the rhythm in terms of a triplet feel. 1 and then 2 and then 3. So it's causing me, if I'm really observing this triplet, is I'm holding the first beat longer with 1 and then I had the shorter beat on the last one. 1 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and when you're playing this bass line, I want to make sure you're not dragging your pinky. Make sure you're repeating it each time. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. Let me refresh the chat just to make sure. Sometimes people hop in the chat. I want to make sure. Okay, we have 5 people have liked this, which is very helpful. Lets me know you guys are watching, and we have 8 people watching, which is really nice. Okay, so we're going to marry these two together, the right hand and the left hand, and we're also going to do the Fats Domino bass line as well, because I'm really wanting you guys to get that one down. So if I'm practicing in this, and I want you guys to do this out loud, just get where you're familiar. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. I want that triplet rhythm to really get into your brain, your fingers, and just really be internal, that you get this 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. It'll help everything, your timing, your rhythm, and your overall feel. So 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. So if I'm going to lock this up, and I'm looking right here at this example of the sheet music, and a little quick side note, if anybody's watching this on replay or on the live and you're not a member of our Blues Academy, they always get everything, of course, all the PDFs and everything. But if you would like this PDF, you can give me a donation to the channel, to the YouTube channel. Link is in the description. And whatever donation you want to make, there's a PayPal link. You can do super chats, whatever you want to do. Whatever you do, I'll honor that and say, I'll send you the PDF. And if you'd like the PDF, and if for some reason somebody can't afford it, I will make a way for you to have that. So, but it helps me out when you guys are able to donate towards the YouTube channel as well, even if you're not a member of the Academy. So, again, if you for some reason can't afford it, no big deal, and we'll figure it out. But in the meantime, if you can donate it and you would like this PDF, it's a really good PDF. It's our shapes course, and we go through all of these different ways that you can play blues with learning about shapes. And so yesterday we did this same PDF, which had 2 specific licks we were working on. One is this one, which is very similar to what we just did with here. We're using the octave, and that one starts in the flat 7th. But let's go back down to this one. So we have 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and. So here's how we're going to lock it up. 1 and then. So want to count that out, do it very slowly. 1 and then. Notice that my 8th note is locking up with my left hand bass line is locking up with the C. 1 and then, right there. 1 and then. And as long as you're holding that top note, you're good. 1 and then. 1 and then. The next part, watch what happens here. 1 and then. Now I'm on C and A with the F and C. So it's kind of like we're outlining an F chord right there. 1 and then 2 and then. And the last part, the last beat is 3 and then 4 and then. And what's so nice about the last part of it is just left hand only. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then. So we're not doing anything magical in terms of trying to, just trying to lock up the hands and not really thinking about it. We're thinking about every single beat. Hey, Vicky, good to see you. Awesome. Great to see you. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and. And just a reminder, if anybody's interested, I just told you guys that if somebody wanted to make a donation, you're not a member of the Academy, and you wanted this PDF, it's not just a PDF. It's also the hour-long training that goes along with it. So what I love about this is if you had this PDF, and you click on it, it'll take you right to the course, which is a little loud right now, but it's a 58-minute course on this whole shapes course, which anyway, it's really nice. I think you'll like it. But anyway, here we go. 1 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1. Once you go to the F chord, it's the same exact thing. It's now I'm thinking of root and fifth note of the F scale, and now I have the tritone of F, the sharp 4, and I hammer on 1 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. And back to C. Okay, so I did a training on this yesterday, so you can definitely go back and watch that one. But if you would like to know how to do the right hand and left hand, it is repetition is your friend and right hand only. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. And there are certain things that I like to teach as you're transitioning between chords. I mentioned it yesterday that if I'm going to the F, I'm thinking about my thumb transitioning up to where I'm going. So it helps kind of connect each chord. Let me give you an example. We're going to do this 4 times. Here we go. So I get ready to transition, and my thumb helps me connect almost as if I were using the pedal. And that same thing going back down to the C. I'll do it slower this time. Watch when I go to G. All right, now let's try to put this with the Pat's Domino bass line that we've been working on. So our Blues Academy, we've been working hard on this. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. I know you notice a theme here is that we're practicing counting in triplets. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. Now, if you're going to try to play along with that and you're not thinking about this triplet rhythm, it would be quite difficult to do, to try to improvise over all of that. And that's where I'm trying to step in just to show you it's really not hard to do if you break it down and think in triplets. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. So we even break it down more. We're going to do 1 and then is just the first beat. 1 and then. Now watch what happens on beat 2. 2 and then. So C to E is the first note of the triplet and the last note of the triplet. 1 and then 2 and then. And just like on our eighth notes, more slowly to the right hand. Sure, I can do that, Nancy, just 1 second. So we did this 1 and then 2 and then. And just a reminder from what we just did is you're holding the first part of the triplet longer. 1 and then 2 and then. So beat 2 gets 2 and then watch what happens on beat 3. 3 and then. So you have 2 beats, beat 2 and beat 3, that actually hold the first beat of the triplet longer, and then you hit the short, and then the same thing on beat 3. Watch this very slowly. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then. And the last beat gets just the triplet. 4 and then. So every beat is played. And the way we want to get this, we call our down home fingering, is if we do E flat, E, G, and we do 3, 3, 2. And you get used to this slide. It's just something you get used to. I was able to get used to it because even though when I started playing the piano, I would always try to get the best fingering, and I would try to do 4, 3, 2, which I do on some things, but I like this down home fingering. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and all right, so Nancy, I will slow this down. We did a training on this yesterday, and I do realize that this is a little bit of a difficult lick to start with for this morning's lesson, but this is just kind of a continuation of what we've been doing in the academy. But let me try to break this down one more time, and then I'll finish with this right hand. I'll try to do it very slowly, and then I'll put the Fats Domino left hand with the right hand lick, and then we'll call it a day. Here we go. So we have, let me just check my time really quickly. All right, we're doing great on time. So 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. So Nancy, as I'm doing this, I'm visualizing, first of all, the octave. That's the first thing. Whenever I'm trying to get this lick. And then here's a trick that we did yesterday. If you play a C triad, if I take my index finger and go up a whole step, I'm immediately set up for this lick. Isn't that nice the way that works out? So I have my tritone, F sharp, G, C, and which is part of the C blues scale. 1 and then. And that's how I'm going to do beat 1. 1 and then. 1 and then. Now watch what happens here. Now I'm on beat 2, and I'm going to pick up my pinky on top and hit it again. 2 and then. So you could spend a day, a week, however long it takes to practice beat 2, where you're doing F and C, 2 and then, 2 and then. Now let me put those two beats together, showing you the way we practice together. 1 and then, 2 and then. And then the last part is 3 and then. What's nice about that is just you're here, you're still holding the top note, and you go 3 and then 4 and then 3 and then 4 and then. And now I'm going to put it all together very slowly. 1 and then pick up a hand, 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then one more time. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. Now let's talk about putting the hands together. We're going to do the same thing with the way we break down the left hand and the right hand. We're going to take it one beat at a time. 1 and then. That's nice. You just do one note, C. 1 and then. Now here's where we do a little bit of lining up the beats. 1 and then 2 and then. So I have the first beat on the second note, 2 and then, C to E. 1 and then 2 and then 1 and then 2 and then. Now here's the next part. 3 and then. That's nice because it happens together. 3 and then. As a reminder, I will keep telling you guys this, is that for this bass line, you want to make sure that you know that the index finger happens twice. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1, then 2 and then 3 and then. So let me line up those three beats. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then. And guess what? Beat 4. 4 and then is by itself. Thankfully, it gives us a little rest, right? 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. Oh, let's just speed it up just for the sake of kind of hearing what it's going to sound like. 1 and. Reason we can do that, and we will get to do that, is by left hand practice, right hand practice. Using a metronome is obviously very helpful as well, very slow tempo. But also notice that I'm breaking each beat down and trying to really lock it up. One and then. Okay, spend a little time there. One and then. And the next beat, two and then. Sorry. One and then, two and then. The C to the E. One and then, two and then. That takes a little work there. One and then, two and then. And now here, three and then. We have to remember that index finger repeating, and then we're home free. One and then. As a reminder again, this is just a pop-up lesson from our Blues Academy. Very thankful for our academy. We have about 20 members. We've had it for a couple years. We picked up a few new people, and this is just a pop-up lesson. Normally we do Mondays and Thursdays within our academy. But if anybody is interested in getting this PDF, which is also the course, it's an hour long, and you want to make a donation, the link is in the description. You're just donating to the YouTube channel, and I will manually send this PDF to your email. But if for some reason somebody can't afford it, we'll work it out. I'm happy to do that. But anyway, that's just a little side note for fun. But we've been practicing the Blueberry Hill in our academy. We have another lesson rounding up Blueberry Hill, and then we have another song for next month. So we're gonna finish here today. But let me do one more thing to encourage you guys. Is that if you go down the shapes course and you're right here, and this says repeat exercise 5 for 5 minutes a day. This is the triplet rhythm. And Nancy, this might help you, and this might help anyone else who may be more on the beginner side. I don't know where exactly your level is, Nancy, but this is good for any level, beginner to pro. Is you need to know these things. It's a minor third to major third, and I'm just doing the triplet. 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then it resolves there. But if I was practicing just the 8th note bass line, so exactly as this is written, I would do it like this: 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. So you see exactly how this lines up. 1 and then. Notice that we have a pattern of first note is held longer, 1 and then the last note, the last part of the beat gets the last part of the triplet. 1 and then. Now we start the triplet over again. 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then. So you have this. Now once you get this muscle memory down, then the next thing is the 4 chord of the blues is the F chord. You think about the F triad, and all you have to do to get this lick is you play your F triad, and your index finger goes down a half step, and you play the triplet on F, minor third to major third. Same thing on the G chord. We've been working lately, and this is also in the shapes course, which I love, is just the power of triads. Let me show you what I'm talking about right here. So if you look right here on using triad connections, if I played this, it's a C7 chord. If I play this, it's an F and second inversion triad, G minor, A minor, B flat, and C, and you had these nice little things. So what's great about triads is that they sound, especially second inversion triads, they sound so nice. Da, 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 da. And once you learn them, it just gives you lots of material. Just the triads. I can start down here. Anyway, that's for another lesson. But let's wrap up with this. We're gonna do the Fats Domino bass line with our simple triplet. So if we had this 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. So in our left hand, we're going to do 1 and then. Okay, that's by itself. 1 and then, and the time it repeats, 2 and then. First part of the triplet on beat 2 and the last part. 1 and then, start over. 2 and then, 3 and then. Remember that the index finger goes twice. 1 and then, 2 and then, 3 and then, 4 and then. Well, what just happened at the very end? 4 and then is the exact same notes in both hands. The only difference is we're doing a slide that's a little bit tricky from our third finger to our third finger, E flat, E, G, but it's the same notes. So let's break it down one more time. The first beat is by itself, 1 and then. When I say by itself, I mean left hand just plays one note, 1 and then. Now the second beat is 2 and then, 2 and then. Then I might put those together. 1 and then, 2 and then. Now beat 3 is going to be 2 G notes in the left hand. 3 and then, 3 and then. And the last one, last beat, beat 4, is 4 and then, 4 and then. Let's put it all together very slowly. 1 and then, 2 and then, 3 and then, 4 and then, 1. 1 and then, 2 and then, 3 and then. I didn't do that right. 1 and then, 2 and then, 3 and then, 4 and then. Same thing if you were to go on to F or G. But isn't that nice? You start thinking in terms of triplets, 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then in the left hand, 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and. All right, what questions do you have before we wrap up? And again, if anybody would like this PDF, and I would really appreciate a donation of any kind. You don't have to tell me what the amount is. The link is in the description if you want to do that. And if you can't afford it, I'll send it to you anyway. But just please consider donating to this channel, and that'd be great. And to my members, thank you so much. I love what I get to do. I love teaching. We have everyone from, I have a couple of teenagers that are part of our academy, as well as up to like 87 or 88 years old. And a lot of retired folks, which I absolutely love. I'm just very thankful for every person that are in all of our groups. So shout out to Dave P, to Dave W, to Charity, to Ted, to Vicky, to Dave, David M, to Hugh, to Claire, to Peter, to Akshay, to David W, to T-Man, to Ian, to Gilbert, our newest member. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. We'll have our lesson on Thursday of finishing Fats Domino. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Nancy, thank you for hanging out today. And for Vicky, thank you for hanging out as always. Vicky is one of our rock stars at iMusic Academy. Awesome. You're welcome. I'll see you guys Thursday. And thanks again, everyone. Please leave a comment, like this video, subscribe if you're not subscribed. And if you have any questions about our Blues Academy, you can always let me know. And I will give you 30 seconds to say your goodbyes, as we always do, and I'll see you guys on the next video.